we're going to be starting in about 1 minute. Make sure you have your team on this. You're not going to want to miss it, so you're not going to want them to miss it. Make sure you have a pen and paper out. It's going to be about 1 hour. It's going to be packed with a bunch of information that you need, tools that you need to build this business to get you to that next level. So you're going to want to make sure your team is on there. Send out text, call them, do what you have to do, but make sure they're on this. We're going to be starting in just a few minutes. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining Fast Track Training. We're going to have 1 hour of Fast Track Training. This is going to be recorded, so be sure you get your team on this now. You do not want to miss this. You don't want them to miss this. I'm going to get started. Make sure you have a pen and paper with you because you're going to want to take notes. You're going to want to make sure you get all the information and the tools that you need. There's a couple things that I do want to say first. First, there's a chat on here. I'm going to try and answer questions. If I miss them, I'm sorry, write them again. But there's a chat where you can write in, and I'm going to try and follow along with it and answer people's questions as they go along. Second thing I want to say is, if you have not gone to the Fast Track opportunity for business building tips and to direct your people there to use the videos, to be able to introduce them, both the product, the opportunity, you want to sign up for the events page by clicking subscribe now to get newsletters telling you the different events that are going on. If you have not done that, you're going to want to do that after this webinar. Another thing is that there is a direct deposit that is now available in your back office. It will be available tomorrow, so you can go in there if you want to change from a check to direct deposit. You can do so. Also, we're going to give you really important information on the compensation plan. But not only that, right now during the summer splash, you get more rewards. It makes the compensation plan on steroids. That's what I'm hearing out there. So you definitely want to pay attention and understand how to maximize the compensation plan, especially the rest of this month during the summer splash. So I am not going to hold back any longer, guys, because there's a wealth of information that you're going to be getting. So start your engines. This is going to be the ride of your life. So put the pedal to the metal. I'm going to put on our 2 Asante diamonds. I'm going to introduce to you that they have traveled around the world teaching the system and the fundamental principles and the values of this system. So please, you guys, pay attention. Eric Cloud and Steve Camporoglu, they're going to give you the information that you need, guys. Take it away, guys.
Hello, everybody. Hello, team. Eric, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great. I can hear you great. So, guys, we're going to have a lot of fun with you all today, but at the same time, we want to help you to be able to get on the fast track and grow in your business. And, you know, Eric and I were sharing, you know, man, there's not a better system out there than what we're about to share with you to be able to go out and grow your business and to do it fast. And, you know, fast is definitely better than slow. Slow is painful. So we want to get you on the right track to be able to start revving your engines. And, you know, listen, it's not a race. but I'll tell you, if you go out and love on some people, you can really go out and make a difference in your business and in people's lives. And so we're really excited about what we have today. And today what we want to try to help you to learn is that how most of us in life, we spend so much time working hard. You know, sweat, blood, tears, you know, we're out there doing what we have to do to make a living. And so today we hope that you'll take a little glimpse away from this to be able to help you, that we can help you to work smart with a duplicatable system. And I just wanted to give a quick example to kind of help you understand the power of a system and the power of the fast track. And it applies into everything in our life, right? If you think back to a simple invention like the light bulb that Thomas Edison had created, if you were actually around during his time, he would have told you that he had tried almost 10,000 times before he succeeded. But he never gave up. And after 10,000 times, he created a light bulb that functioned. Now, I can tell you that over the years, the people that followed him that reinvented the light bulbs, such as the incandescent bulb, the LED, the fluorescence, the CFL bulbs, they didn't have to make all those mistakes because there were trial and errors that have already been created. And so there was a learning curve that helped them to be able to get through that process a little faster. And so we want to help you see today. You know, many people think that having your own business and being your own boss requires that you create a product, a system, and a success manual in order to be a true entrepreneur. And someone who wants to take charge and challenge each step in the process, well, that is one form of an entrepreneur. But that's simply not true in the network marketing industry. If someone has already done the work, tested the procedure, and proven that a system works and has created a wealth of income in people's pockets, why reinvent the wheel? You know, someone who's willing to listen and learn from others to avoid making the same mistakes will avoid many of the pitfalls and learning curves of in this network marketing industry. And so your success can come sooner. And that's really our objective, isn't it, Eric, with this fast track system and helping people to be able to grow?
Yeah, exactly, Steve. You know, you couldn't have said it any better. If I had one outcome for everybody here is to give them the greatest gift that I can think of, which is the gift of freedom. And just to be, you know, straightforward, speaking from the heart, you know, if I can teach everybody on here the skills to go out and build an income, which I call career level income, treating this like a career, which somebody said, you know, the difference between a job and a career is, you know, they told me that if you're making $100,000 or plus a year, that's a career. Anything below that's a job. And they told me that back in 1995. I don't know if that's true or not, but it did kind of resonate with me. And I was thinking, you know, if I could teach everybody here the skills to earn $200,000 plus a year in the network marketing industry, it's not the income number that matters. It's not necessarily the dollar amount, but it's what it provides for you. And that's exactly what we're focusing on with this presentation. And one of the greatest gifts that you can get from participating in an industry like this is the gift of personal growth. It's just growing, because in the end, you know, it's not what you get, it's what you become in the process. Now, my wife was motioning to me just a little bit, Steve. Is my mic, is it too loud or is it okay? You hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound real good, Eric. It's coming across nice and clear. And yeah, thanks for sharing that, because, you know, that's so important. And, you know, what gives your network marketing business its real power is not what you can do. Your belief is important, which we'll go over, you know, in a bit, but it's what you can duplicate. And I hope that you could take this away. It's what you can duplicate. In other words, you want to build your business in a way that virtually anyone else can readily copy. Why? Because others copying what you do is exactly what you want to happen, what you need to happen, right? And that's where the success comes in, because if it's all about you and what you're doing, everybody's going to try to follow you, and you're going to have to answer every question. So we're going to show you how through the fast track system that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. The success has already been there. And listen, I want you to really know this and jot this down, that this fast track system is based upon fundamentals that are so strong in the network marketing industry that's over 75 years old. The principles and values that are in that are invaluable. And so what we have done with the fast track system, and I got to give credit to Eric because he is such a great writer, and he's put things in a way to be able to simplify it, to be able to help people to say, I can do it. And so, I got to give a lot of props to that because, that's one of the things in this industry that has always been challenged, is to find a system that's duplicatable, that anybody can do it. And so there's a beginning step. The first things first, as you see on the slide, there's certain things before you get into the fast track system. I want you to know that you don't need to go over the fast track system with everybody, right? Who are you going to go over the fast track system with? You're going to go over it with people that are looking to build a business and want to succeed, to have some goals, dreams, and passions and desires that they want to accomplish. Now, if somebody says to you that they don't want to build a business right now, but they want to be consumers of the product, you don't need to sit with them for an hour with the fast track, building a game plan of success for them. However, we'll show you later on how you can turn those consumers into business builders. But so first, what you want to do is Asante says, listen, if we're going to pay you well, and there's no contracts with Asante, right? It's all based upon what you're willing to do. They say if we're going to pay you well to go out and share the product, we want you to consume the product. So the first thing that you need to do is go out and place an initial order of 200 volume points or more. So whether you're getting 2 cans of a Kia for 100 volume points, or a case of IS2 for 100 volume points, or a bottle of real weight for 100 volume points, it doesn't matter how you mix them up. But business builders, listen, we have some amazing packs out there. You see these packs that are on there on the front page here on this slide. Pick and choose what you want. Mix them all up. Get them all. It doesn't matter, but if you're a business builder and you truly want to succeed, you have to have product. The reason why you have to have product is when we're signing up, and I know Eric works his business the exact same way. Eric and I kind of tag team each other. We're on the same page. We go hand in hand, arm in arm, because we follow in the same system, and we've worked together for many, many years and traveled together. But the thing is that if you don't have product, how can people sign up, leave your home with product, and start consuming it right away? So what we do is we have product on hand to be able to give to them so that they can leave your home and be able to have that product right away, and then their product comes back to your house and your inventory is replenished. So you want to be on a minimum of 200 PV or more. You've heard the summer splash calls, guys. We're signing people up on 300 and 500 PV because people want to get the shares. They want to build their business practices properly and to be able to make as much money. Let's face it, this is a business, right? So then once you place that initial order, the next step is to enroll in auto ship. And auto ship means, listen, Eric and I and our wives certainly aren't going to be delivering the product to you guys. It's going to come straight from Asante to your door. And that's going to be the product that you consume. And so you want to be, if you're a business builder, you want to be on a minimum of 200 PV or more every single month consuming the products. Why do we say 200 PV or more? Is so that you can maximize the compensation plan. So that's really a key. And I would ask you this, and I know that Eric would say the same thing here as we're talking. And Eric, you can chime in as you feel. But to me, it's one of the most important things that if somebody's getting in our business, we want to help them get their product paid for right away. And this system is going to teach you how. And if for any reason any person in our team thinks that they should click off of auto ship, we want you to call us first. Talk to us first. Let us know what's going on in your life and why you feel the need to be able to do that. Because, listen, that's the sacredness to your business. And we want to teach you the value and the importance of staying on auto ship because that is your key to success in your business. And so, once you've got your product, once you've got your auto ship, right, you've got to familiar yourself with your Asante virtual back office. And guys, listen, Eric and I probably aren't the best people in the world to tell you how to navigate through the back office, but, my wife, Linda, and Michelle, they are amazing at that. So, that's where all of our talents are different, right? And so make sure that if you have questions, don't feel bad to call and ask. And if Eric and I don't know, or if our, Linda and Michelle don't know, we're going to direct you to corporate, or we're going to direct you where to find that answer. But here's the key. Once you've bought your product, once you've signed up for your auto ship, once you looked at your back office, the very next step, if somebody tells you that they're going to be a business builder, you need to help them have the fast track system. Well, one of the ways you can help them is by having a few of them on hand, right? You want to have a couple of them in your home to be able to give to them, and then you can always replenish your stock, right? And you make them pay for the system, because, listen, that's $1 million system that, cost you $85. You want to make sure that you have them on hand to be able to help people to succeed, right? And then, have purchased enough business building support tools to sponsor your first 10, right? So who wants to come off the ground running? That's the key. We have a lot of new people that have hit ranks in 11 days and 2 weeks, and 4 and 5 days hitting silver, and 2 weeks going gold. And guys, I'm telling you, with the right tools in your hand, you go out and sponsor 10 people right away and go silver. Come on, you guys can do it. So, and then talk with your sponsor to cover the basics of the compensation plan, right? It's okay if you don't understand it all. What we're here to tell you today is you don't have to understand it all. Let the tools do the work for you. So, Eric, if you want to continue on and share a little bit about the value of the system.
Yeah, sure, Steve. I learned this acronym, SYSTEM. SYSTEM is an acronym for Save Yourself, Stress, Time, Energy, and Money. And, this is probably an analogy that I have overused that you've heard, but, you look at McDonald's, it is the most successful restaurant in the world. It serves the worst food, and it's run by high school students. I mean, think about it. And the importance of a system is, to some degree, it takes you out of the equation, not from an action standpoint, but from the standpoint of not having to be the expert. Now, when you gloss over and you look at the acronym for Fast Track and why, beliefs, and goals, and list, and some of these terms that you've heard, especially for those who have been in the network marketing industry, it's a big mistake to say, I've heard all this stuff before, it's a good set of steps. But what you have to understand is what's a little bit different is a lot of thought went into the Fast Track system from the standpoint of not focusing on necessarily a set process, but focusing on you, the individual. And over 20 years and over the time that Steve has been in business for himself, I've become a keen observer of human nature. And it's kind of like you've got the bricks and then the mortar. If you're looking at a brick wall, most of the time you're probably paying most attention to the bricks, but the mortar is what holds it together. And being a keen observer of human nature, I took that in mind when we put this together, because I want to know the things. Why do people do what they do? Why do people get in and quit? Why is it that some people say things, the exact same thing to a person, and strike out, and then you give somebody else the exact same thing to say, and they consistently win? These are things that fascinate me, and if you actually take the time to go through the DVDs and go through the Fast Track system, understanding that you're a part of the system, these sort of things will become clear to you on a whole nother level than I think you've ever experienced in network marketing. What's a system? What is a system? Well, it's a proven, predictable pattern of business building activities that guarantees results if followed. I have a cabin up in McCall, Idaho, and the snow gets really deep, sometimes 4 or 5 feet in the front yard. And, it's been said, if you've got to follow somebody through deep snow, you might as well step in the footsteps of those who have gone before you, because it's a lot easier, right? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. And you also have to realize the Fast Track system, listen, all of us as leaders, this is a business that is truly focused on people helping people, and the more that we help you succeed. So you have to understand and trust that it is in the very best interest of your upline to not only help you succeed, but to help you surpass us, because that's job security for all of us. So you have to trust the wisdom that we're putting forward. And if there's things that aren't in there that you've thought of, like, well, how come there's not a chapter on getting a Kia or IS2 into Jamba Juice? Or how come there's not a strategy in here for running radio ads? Or how come there's not a strategy in here for going after athletic clubs? Because you want to know something? I have done all those things over 20 years. There isn't one idea short of hanging a banner behind an airplane flying over a game with my phone number on it, which, believe it or not, back in my early 20s, I was dumb enough to actually consider. There isn't a thing that I have thought of that I have tried. So we're not into experimenting on people. These are the things, because your lives, we're all bonded together, and these relationships are important to us. So we have to have a system where we trust each other, so we're never going to sway you in the wrong direction. The system is designed to have you become a diamond in 2 to 5 years, 2 to 5,000 a week, a couple $100,000 a year, and that could provide some freedom. So Steve's going to give a quick flyby on the fast track system, the acronym, and then we're going to get into the foundation. Tonight we're primarily going to be talking about the action of building your business. And what does that do? It's building your bank account. We're going to be focusing most of our time on foundation, action, and a little bit on sharpen. And Steve, why don't you go ahead and take it away, and then get into the foundation of things.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's so key having a good foundation in what you do. And I have to tell you, you know, in the last, weeks and months past, Eric and I, and I'm sure you guys too, have had so many people, and trying to bring us into their networks because of what we're doing and the successes that we're creating with Asante. And I'm here to tell you, we are here. We are Asante. We are going nowhere because we believe in what we're doing with the fast track system. And, we believe in the company, and today we hope that you'll understand why we're so fired up about the system and what we got a hold of, and why so many people, and why Asante is growing, right? So it's all about a foundation. For those that know me, I mean, I've had several businesses, for 22, 23 years I've been in martial arts industry, but for 30 years I've owned a custom home building business called Greco Homes in the Tampa Bay, Florida area. Well, I only bring that up to you to tell you that because I know a lot about foundations and building a home. And so a lot of people just take that word lightly. Well, you got to have a foundation. Well, there's so much more involved in a foundation. In a foundation, you have to dig the footers. It's not just laying 4 inches of concrete. You've got to have 18 to 24 inches of footers around to be able to hold and support, right? The walls that are going to go up and the roof that's going to go up. And inside of those footers is steel, and so inside of the foundation is steel and lath so that it can help create a bond. And so we're going to show you how, with the fast track system, this foundation, the steel is there, the footers are there, the strength and security is there with the team, the fact that the system is not something that's new, that's created more millionaires than any other system in history in network marketing. Okay, it works, right? And so we want to teach you how to build that firm foundation. And, everybody says, oh, you know what, it's one of those, and they're going to start talking about my why. And you know what? Absolutely. Your why is so important in what you do, right? And so we're going to get a little bit into this, but there's steps. There's a process, right? So you have your foundation that talks about the why, the beliefs, and the goals. We'll get into that on a few slides further. The action. Listen, unless you put something into action, nothing's going to happen. Unless you get into that car, right, that's sitting out there. You can have a beautiful Ferrari, a beautiful Porsche. We'll use Porsche because we have a Porsche program. You can have a beautiful Porsche sitting outside, but unless you get into that car, put the keys in the ignition, turn the ignition, put your hands on the steering wheel and a foot on the gas, you're not going to go anywhere. So we're going to show you how action is such a big part of getting people started. Sharpening, listen, read, listen, participate. It's so important putting the right things in. What you put in will come out, right? So it's an invaluable lesson to be able to continue to stay plugged in and to see what's going on with Asante between the webinars, the meetings, the phone calls, the trainings, because it's only going to sharpen what you guys know, right? And then teach, lead, counsel, and duplicate. It's all about that duplicatable system. And so as we go on to the slides there, it talks about why, beliefs, and goals, right? That's the foundation that we just talked about. As you go on with that next slide, Eric, is there's three fundamental values, and beliefs are essential, in building that fire that's inside of you, right? Because without belief, your why really isn't any good. You got to have both together. All three of these things combined are essential. So your whys, beliefs, and goals. And Eric, if you can go over the why as to the reasons why it's important to have a deep-seated why to be able to move forward in your business.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I'm actually, if you can go to that 2 slides over where with the slide that you created there about the reasons why you circle.
yeah, I am. Can you see that now? That's up on my screen.
I don't see it.
Let's see here. Let me make sure that. What do you see now?
Right now, we're still on the building on a foundation with the green and white slide on the fast track.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It must be lagging behind because let me do something real quick.
So as Eric's getting that going, we talked a little bit about. There you go, Eric. It's if we go one more to the next slide, which goes over the why. There you go. Okay, Eric, if you could take over from there and share a little bit about what and why this page that we're looking at is so important.
Yeah, and actually, guys, some of you have heard that I have created this new piece called the Plan Brochure. And what it is, not only for ourselves, but we have to elicit and engage the proper responses as a way of pre-qualifying the candidates for a business in front of somebody. Because if somebody isn't looking for more, then what are we doing, right? Because it's kind of tongue-in-cheek to say, well, our business is for everybody. Everybody needs this. Listen, there's a lot of people that stand in line to win the lottery. So we all know that on some level, people want something more in life. So these questions are designed to help somebody determine what their why is. So the question is, why are you building a network marketing business? And this is kind of fun because in this new piece that we're creating called the Plan, which I'm going to show you the rough draft cover, this is the very first thing when we sit down and we want to expose somebody to the business. We want to know, is there a need? But what's more important is if you haven't identified the need for yourself in a really deep, congruent way, well, you know what? You're going to have a hard time eliciting that from the person that you're sitting across from, because your why has to be compelling. Your why is part of your story. So let's just go ahead and go through this. This is kind of fun. If you could instantly eliminate any major or minor financial stresses, worries, or concerns from your life, what would they be? Isn't that a great question? Because you know what? I bet a lot of people have never really sat down. I think a lot of people are burdened in their problems. They're up to their necks and stuff. But would it be paying off loans, improve credit score, better tax situation, pay off a mortgage, build kids' tuition for college wherever they want to go, eliminate medical bills, provide for elderly parents? I mean, my parents aren't elderly, but one of my whys is I grew up and my father, by the 19 years old, he had multiple sclerosis and was very progressive. And he died right around 50 years old. And all through my 20s and through my childhood, I saw him going from losing his health to going to a walker to going into wheelchair to going to being bedridden, and all the visits to the VA hospital and all these things. I mean, those things were not fun for me to be in those places. So, for my parents, my mom and my stepdad, that's something that I want to be able to do. If you could generate an additional $100 to $2,000 a year of permanent income for life, what would you do with the money? Steve, are you back? What would you do with the money?
Well, I do a lot of things, but I can tell you one thing for sure is that I would find a way. Part of my why is making sure my wife and my children are happy. So I would take them on vacation, and I would go out and I would make sure that they have the monies for their college. And for me, I look at these things that you put here as perfect travel. That's one of the things my wife and I love to do. So first trips to Fiji, guys.
I like that. Yeah, I mean, just imagine. I mean, and I don't mean just read the question. I want you to really imagine tomorrow morning you woke up, and in the previous question, your financial worries or concerns were gone, and you had an extra $100 to $200,000 a year of permanent income for life. What would that be like for you? And when we have this piece, guys, when we're doing home business reviews, these are things that we're going to be asking our guests to think about and circle, because I want them to tell us what it is that they want. If you had unlimited free time to do whatever you wanted to do because you didn't have a job to go to and you had all the money you needed to enjoy life, what would you do? Pursue a hobby? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of things. I mean, I think I've read about 5 books in the last 30 days. I'm bringing my jazz saxophone skills back. At one point, I thought I would take my scholarship that I got to Berklee School of Music, and that's what I was going to do as a young man. But the kind of jazz that I like to play, Charlie Parker tunes and Miles Davis, I'm not into like the elevator music type jazz. It doesn't really pay the bills. I'm learning Spanish. I'm back in the gym and I'm working out. So those are things that
I
are
heard you
interesting.
singing in Costa Rica too, Eric. You didn't do too bad. So
And you
just
know
make a
what?
good mix.
I didn't even practice that one. And my best song was never on YouTube.
Oh, that's too funny.
But it is fun. I mean, think about it. I mean, both Steve and I have. Steve has a few black belts in martial arts, and he's a master. And one of my things, and because I had freedom to do some things, I have 2 different black belts in martial arts. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who have thought about this. One day I'd like to do this. One day I'd like to do that. One day I'd like to. Well, why not make one day? How about 3 to 4 years from now? Because if you built the income, looking back where you're at now, doing the right things, fast forward a couple of years, you have this income to have the free time to do those things. What things would you circle and make it compelling? Listen, your why should make you cry. It's got to be something that you have immense passion for and emotional energy. But and I'm going to turn this over to Steve on the next slide. The one thing that is probably one of the most important things that cause you to get your whys. You have to have belief, because in all the levels that you can think about, your belief system and who you are as a person, that's a higher level thing. You have your internal representation that drives the rest of who you are as a person, i.e. your behaviors. And Steve, why don't you touch on beliefs and some of the 4 areas that are really important?
Yeah, belief is so important, in everything that we do, because it starts with that. You have to believe that you're capable of achieving what, that you put your mind to. You got to believe that your dreams can come true if you put the activity in, But let's face it, all of us at points in our life stop believing in ourselves. And what has happened to us? Either you've been down for a long period of time, or somebody's came and lifted you up. And I'll share a very short story with you, because it has a lot to do with belief. But everybody has heard that I've been in martial arts, and I've traveled the globe both as a motivational speaker as well as with martial arts, and fought competitively. And there was a point at a world championship that I was fighting that I had worked my entire life for this moment. And I woke up early every morning, and I worked out and I trained and I went to bed late every night and I worked out and trained. Man, I was confident. I was ready. I knew that it was mine. But I went into a ring and I went to fight. And, you know, something happened. Fear had taken over me. Fear had taken over my whole entire being because I looked at somebody at face value thinking that I couldn't succeed. I let the perception of what I thought I saw in front of me overcome me. I didn't believe for a moment. I forgot to believe in myself. And so I started getting beat. I was getting hit, and I fell to the ground. And I tell you, for a moment, I wanted to stay down. I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to fight no more because I had already been beat in my mind because I lost belief in myself. And guys, I'm telling you this story because many of you have been that way in life, where we've stopped believing in what we're capable of doing. But as I was sitting down on that ring, I was beaten. My attitude was bad. My belief level was bad. But I could hear from the corner of my ear somebody yelling, "You can do it. I believe in you. You can do it. You've trained for this every moment of your life, every waking moment you've trained for this. You can do it." And when I looked over, at that time it was my 12-year-old son who said that he could believe in me. With tears in his eyes, he reached out, and I got up because somebody else reached out to me, and it happened to be my son who believed that I was capable. And I got up and I fought and I won that match and I took the championship. Guys, listen, I tell you that because a lot of people out there need somebody to extend their hand, right? I believe in you. You can do it together. Listen, it's about what we can do together and using other people's successes to be able to help you get there. And sometimes we've been so beat up that we forget to believe in ourselves. But listen, there's a very important factor in this whole thing that you see in beliefs in this fast track is, listen, belief in yourself is huge. Because if you have a three-legged table, it's going to wobble or could even fall down. So there's other parts of those legs. First, it starts with you guys. You've got to believe in you and that you're capable of achieving whatever you put your mind to. But it really does help when you believe in other aspects. You believe in your team, right? That's huge. Which in this aspect, you don't see a leg there that says team because team and yourself go together. You're not by yourself. But then you build belief in the company. Right? Believe that Asante is there for you guys, that they have your back covered. They want to see you succeed. It's the only company that I know of, and I have seen a lot of companies as well as you guys, and I know Eric too, that has seen a lot of companies out there, but I'm telling you, Asante's got your back. They've got a compensation plan that's got your back from the early stages to help build belief, right? And we have the most phenomenal, listen, the third leg is product that nobody else has out there. We have a product that people need to consume in their life. It's amazing. It's phenomenal. And then listen, network marketing. Guys, say it out loud with a happy tone because this is the best industry in the world that you can possibly ever decide to be part of, you know? And so make sure that as people ask you what you do, sure, you hear me say community commerce, right? That's just another term for network marketing. I am proud to be a network marketer. I believe in this industry. I believe in what it's capable of, and I believe that it's created the most money than any other industry. You want a home-based business? Believe that we have something that can help people. You want, as my good friend Gary Kearney said, we got to. If you need good product to feel better in your life, we got a program for it, right? So believe that we have an avenue to be able to help change people's lives. But I want you to know that by having those four legs, by having those four pillars, you can set anything on top of that. That's your foundation. So whatever your dreams and goals are, if you have all of those belief levels, you're going to be able to accomplish whatever that you want to accomplish. So all four areas of belief are required to support your dreams and goals. What would happen if this table were missing one of its legs? What if it were missing two or more of its legs? Guys, listen, if you're bringing people in to your Asante business, You have to, if you want them to succeed, you have to follow the duplicatable system. And that system is going to help create those 4 levels of belief that you need so that we can help them to be able to move on to their goals. And so, Eric, what are some of the goals that people can set, and how should they do it?
Well, you know, a lot of people will spend thousands of dollars flying to seminars and learning how to set goals. They'll go see Tony Robbins in Hawaii. Not a bad thing, and pay 10 grand and walk across hot coals and literally get fired up. But I'm here to tell you, you want to know what a goal is? What do you want? If you had all the money, what would you buy? What would you do? Okay, you can go ahead and PayPal me your 10 grand for this goal setting seminar. But basically, your goals in this business is a pin level attached to a specific date. Now, understand that your why is the emotional thing. The belief is the glue that keeps you stuck to your why. What the goals are, this is a progress report. And every single week we get a progress report called your paycheck, or now your automatic deposit thing that Linda was talking about. So basically, a goal is a pin level that attached to a specific date. When I was building my first binary with a very similar compensation plan, I didn't look at like the interstellar galactic commander pin where you're get a battleship and fighting Klingons at the end of the universe. No, I looked at it and it said star, not Starfleet Commander, star. What was it? Well, it was one left and one right, and I looked at Michelle. I said, we can do that. And then the next one was Executive 500, 5 left, 5 right. And they said, but I said, it's not good enough to say I can do that. It was better to say I can do that by Friday or before Tuesday. And then going from 500 left and 500 right to going to 10, it was like, oh, I just have to like double, but I don't have to do it myself. Who wants to raise their hand left and right and help me with the process? And I got some of them involved, right? So, I mean, Steve, it's really, we're setting our goals with a pin level attached to it, but I know something you're passionate about is we achieve our goals by helping other people achieve theirs.
Absolutely. I mean, that's really the key to the success. It's because if you can help people achieve what they want, you'll have all the things that you want. And especially, man, this compensation plan rewards the good activity of being able to help people to succeed. So not only are you building relationships, and that's really key. I really want everybody to understand, Eric and I, we really care to help people understand that this is about people. This is the people business. This is about relationships, loving on people, because that's where we're going to be able to help them grow. Everybody has heard people say, it's a 3 to 5 year plan. Why is it a 3 to 5 year plan? It's not that you can't make and become a diamond in a year or in 6 months. Sure you can. But what it is that 3 to 5 years is what it takes to be able to build proper relationships where people know you, love you, and trust you, and will be willing to do whatever you've done because you've shown them, not by words, but by actions, that you're willing to be able to help them to succeed. And so that's the fundamental part of this business. The moment that you lose sight that it's about others and it's not about a sell, it's not about the product, but it's about where you can help other people reach their goals, that's the key to the success.
Yeah, that's good. So, we've done a good job covering the foundation. And listen, Steve gave a great analogy as a home builder about the foundation and the footings. Well, listen, the foundations in this business begin in your mind, and your mind has to be right because all action, all results first stem from a thought in the mind. If you think about the first airplane, the Wright brothers that ever flew, you think about some of the greatest things that ever have been accomplished in history. It all begins with a thought, some of the greatest inventions. Well, it's no different from you. And actually, when we get to the sharpen section, which we'll cover very quickly, you have to understand that that if you're not programming good things into your mind, there's not good things coming out. So you want to spend some time. Why beliefs and goals in the fast track manual is not something that you spend 10 minutes on. Matter of fact, I would recommend you and your significant other or you by yourself um, check into a nice hotel. Doesn't have to be 5-star, but get away and spend a couple days where, maybe a Friday, Saturday, you check out Sunday, where you sit down and you really think about these things. You have some fun too. You dip into the pool, you watch some movies, you go out to dinner, but really make it a meditation time to really, because how much time do you think it takes to plan a foundation for something simple like a house? How much time do you think, let me just put it this way, how much time do you think it takes to plan a foundation for an outhouse? Okay.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people spend more time planning that foundation than they do for their future. So, moving on,
Eric, if I could just
yeah,
mention real quick
you
that
bet.
something that has always helped me and has always stuck in my head is that as you set your goals, as Eric had shown on that one page, just remember that you have to get sometimes a little uncomfortable to get comfortable, right? So sometimes you say your plans can be made in sand, but your goals should be set in stone,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so all that means is, listen, that trip can be next month. That trip can be next year, but your goals are going to be forever. And it's been said that a lot of times that most people's dreams and goals and desires can be found in one place, and that's in the burial grounds, right? In the cemeteries. We don't want that. We want to help our friends to be able to create success, and we're going to do that by showing them the system, but sometimes it requires to change a little bit your plans, a little bit to get uncomfortable, so you may not go out to dinner that night, and you might go spend some time with your friends loving on them and show them a way to get physically and financially healthy. And so just keep that in mind. When you set those goals and you put those dates next to it, sometimes you might have to erase your plans, but that's where the success comes.
Yeah, that's such a great point, Steve. That is such a great point. Is after all, when the great Walt Disney says, my greatest asset is my people. And he understood that. And even though he's frozen somewhere in cryo space, his legacy lives on, and that's really what we want to do is focus on our people. I'm going to move through the action phase. This is the first time Steve and I have done this webinar together, and I'm going to tell you, we're probably going to go over an hour, but I'm not going to shortchange you or rush it. I'm not going to be insulted if some of you have to click off, but we're going to finish this in a proper amount of time because we are recording this, and this is a very good training that you want to come back to. The action part of this is once you have your foundation, you have to get into action. This section right here is where you want to be spending 80% of your time in the fast track system. This is where you want to live and breathe. The first thing that has to happen is we have to explain what is the action that we're striving for. I don't like to just go ahead and say, okay, this is the action steps that we want to do. What is it that we are building on a foundation for in terms of the foundation for your business? And that's a foundation for Diamond. I have this slide here because I want you mentally prepared to work. I want you mentally prepared to, I guess, know the realities, the ins and outs of the business. A lot of people are so afraid that, don't tell them people quit, or they don't want to advise people of the pitfalls of network marketing, the traps, and some of the things that come. Well, that's foolish to me because I'd rather have you come into this saying, okay, this is realistic. I see that mountain there, and you know what? I can climb it with you. You promise you'll be here. You'll promise your carabiners hooked to mine and my rope, and you're going to help me. Yeah, okay, I can handle a little bit of frustration because the bottom line is in this industry at times we're waist deep in human nature. We don't always know why people do what they do, but I'm just telling you that the numbers here for Foundation for Diamond, I would rather you coming into this as opposed to somebody out there in the world of network marketing in a binary that just says all you have to do is get one good one left and one good one right. Well, people who haven't been exposed to this industry, they take that literally. They sponsor their two best friends from college or high school. They quit. they're bummed out, they quit, and the whole thing unravels from the bottom up. I want to prepare people to work because this is a career. If a person has to work hard to make a couple $100,000 a year as a physician, as an insurance agent, in medical sales, in any other profession, as a mechanic, you have to be prepared to put in the same amount of work. But the difference between what we do and those other professions is the work that you do up front pays you after the fact, right? Forever. That's why it's residual income. Here's your foundation for Diamond. I would like all of you, if you don't have the fast track manual, I don't know what you're doing, but if you do have the fast track manual or the get started guide, I think this should be on your fridge. I think this is something that you would want to see every day because this is your mission. This is your mantra. This is your mission to everything that is bright and sunny in your future. You're going to sponsor 20 people left and 20 people right on your socioeconomic level and above, meaning that human nature says it's easier to sponsor people who we deem in a position that's lower than our circumstances. Somebody that's down on their luck, somebody that wants to get out of the homeless shelter, because we can all find potential in everybody. But the bottom line is, yes, all of those rags to riches stories can come true, but you just have to understand it's a longer process because a lot of times those people haven't gone through the sharpen element. What I'm going to tell you is I have 20 people left and 20 people right. 10 to 12 on each side are going to be active. What does that mean? Half quit. If you sponsor 2 people, you call me up and say, Eric, one of the 2 people I sponsored quit. I'll say, yeah, I know. Did you see that page in the fast track on Foundation for Diamond? Because I'm laying it out right here for you. Of the 10 to 12, 6 to 8 will be long term. Of those 6 to 8, 3 to 4 will grow to be your leadership legs. Those are the people that you're going to build into gold, ruby, diamond, direct legs that are going to explode your organization. And the good thing is you only need a couple. And I want to say this. This should be a process where it's a feeling of like, you remember when you're a kid, when you're on an Easter egg hunt, and it's fun. You just want to find the plastic egg with the coins or something. The process of identifying these people should be fun because the good Lord already has these 40 picked out for you. It's your job to just go out and uncover them. So the process of this is you interviewing a whole bunch of people, and I'm going to tell you the specific number later and tell you why it is. But this is a process that's fun. But just understand, 20 left, 20 right, that's what you're focusing on. The very first thing is your list. The first thing, the first of the 3 components is your list. Listen, you have to have a contact list of 200 or more names. I'm going to get to that in a minute because it is a mathematical, mechanical, and methodical process. Your goals, your whys, your dreams, the foundation is emotional, but this mechanics is a business of sifting and sorting. You cannot want something more for somebody than they want for themselves. You cannot be working on people, okay? They have to work on themselves. You can present them the opportunity, but you can't carry a bunch of people on your back because you're never going to get across the finish line. So you have to have a good list. Why is this? Well, because there are certain laws in the universe, and the law of averages is one of them. And the law of averages says that a certain amount of people that you expose to the business, a certain amount of people are going to come in. The problem is with most people's lists is they don't take this to heart, and they say a couple of things. Well, number one, I don't know that many people. Well, yes, they do. Today, if you were to open up somebody's Facebook account or iPhone, there's tons of people there. So what happens is we're guessing. Now, what I do, as opposed to most people do, is instead of me thinking about why somebody wouldn't want to do this business, I scratch my head and say, why wouldn't they? Because I look at all of you, and at one point, you would be somebody that maybe someone would say, why would they want to do this? But you're here. So if we stop thinking in terms of our needs and start thinking in the terms of the other people, we can build a big list. Now, I'm not going to belabor this. You've been seeing my post about recruiting stories every single week. I posted a story about a guy I met at Starbucks, a guy that I met at the grocery store that I'd recognize. These are all people that should be on your list, okay? So you want to have your list, and you want to use a memory jogger like this to make sure that you get your list down. Okay, it's your greatest resource, I promise you.
Eric, I'd like to share too that a lot of people don't really realize how much influence that they have around them. You know, I sat with a fellow who only had 10 people's names in his phone, and he said, I don't know if I could ever do this business. He said, because I only really know 10 people. And I looked at him and I said, you know, let me tell you something. The average wedding has 150 people. So that means the average person knows about 150 people or has bumped into 150 people. So your sphere of influence could go a lot further than what you think. So even though you may not have a big list in your phone, as Eric said, you know, you can go onto your Facebook and your LinkedIn. You can reach out to people there. You can go through this memory jogger, you know, come up with people's names. And listen, I can promise you guys, if you can't come up with a list of 200 names, it's okay. Don't get too worked up about it, because Eric and I can teach you how to build relationships and your upline. I mean, we've got some great people on this call, you know, that have done this, that can teach you how to build relationships, because that is key and fundamental in building your business and going through this fast track. So if you need guidelines and tips on how to do it, it's really easy to be able to bump into people and to be able to shake their hands and look them in the eyes and to be able to make an acquaintance. Because remember, you're not out there looking to sell them. You're looking to build relationships.
Yeah, Steve, you make a really good point, and that's part of the reason, like in the Get Started, we talk about having somebody identify their first four. And Steve, I'm glad you reminded me of that, because a lot of times your 200 is not going to come out. It's a process of adding. Some people can add 500 names. Okay, if you can't, don't stress out about it. My philosophy is, you know, if you can't get to the first 20, we're not going to get to the first 200. Okay, so go ahead and build it in chunks, but have fun about it. Because understand, think of your list this way, not as something that you have to do, but the bigger your list, imagine this. Imagine it this way, is the bigger your list, how many people do you want to offer $1 million opportunity to? And let it become fun for you. You have the greatest gift in the world to offer somebody. You're just out there fishing to see who wants to take it. So yeah, thank you,